All right, let's get right into it. If you're serious about your training, you know the struggle. You're walking this constant tightrope, right? You want to get lean, like really shredded, but you're terrified of losing all that hard-earned muscle in the process. Well, today, we are breaking down the real science behind one of the most popular ways to solve this, 16-8 fasting.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Every single person who lives has asked this. Can you actually use fasting as a tool to just incinerate body fat while keeping, or heck, maybe even building muscle? Well, the answer might not be what you think. So stick with me, because we're going to unpack the latest research and give you a clear, science-backed game plan.
So how is that even possible? I mean, it sounds kind of like magic, but the secret isn't just any fasting. It's a specific type of fasting that's really taking the fitness world by storm. It's called time-restricted eating, and honestly, it's a total game changer.
So let's just make sure we're all on the same page. 16-8 time-restricted eating, or TRE, is actually pretty simple. You fast for 16 hours straight, and then you eat all of your daily calories inside a specific 8-hour window. So for example, you might eat between, say, noon and 8 p.m., and then you fast all the way from 8 p.m. until noon the next day. That's it.
Now this, right here, is the core concept. Look, the quality of your food always matters. We know that. But TRE puts a massive spotlight on meal timing. This is all part of a field called chrononutrition, which is basically the science of lining up your eating patterns with your body's own internal clock. And that timing, that's what unlocks some seriously powerful metabolic benefits.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and get into the cool science. What is actually happening inside your body during that 16-hour fast? Because this right here, this is where the magic really starts. I want you to think of your body like a fancy hybrid car. For the first, 12 hours or so after you eat, it's running on its main fuel source, glucose, from the carbs you just ate. But once that starts to run low, right around that 12 to 16-hour mark, a metabolic switch gets flipped. Your body intelligently shifts over to its backup fuel tank, your stored body fat, and starts cranking out ketones for energy. This is the state where you literally become a fat-burning machine.
So how does your body know when to flip that switch? It all comes down to these two little molecules. ATP, that's your cell's high-energy currency. Think of it like a fully charged iPhone battery. When you're fed, ATP is super high. But as you fast, those ATP levels drop, and its counterpart, AMP, starts to rise. This rising AMP is like that flashing red low battery warning that screams at an enzyme called AMPK to wake up and start telling your body, hey, start burning fat for fuel right now.
And if that wasn't cool enough, on top of all that fat burning, there's another incredible benefit. That same low-energy state triggers something called autophagy. The best way to think about this is like your body's internal Marie Kondo, or a cellular cleanup crew. It goes around, finds old, junky, damaged cell parts, and recycles them. It's a deep clean that makes your cells way more efficient and resilient. It's awesome.
Okay. Fat burning and cell cleanup, that's all great, but what about our gains, right? This is, without a doubt, the most important section for any athlete. How do we structure that 8-hour eating window to make sure we stay anabolic and protect our muscle?
All right, listen up. Rule number 1, and this is completely non-negotiable, is protein. The research is crystal clear on this. To hold on to your muscle while you're doing TRE, you absolutely have to hit your protein goal. The number you see here, 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, is a fantastic target for anyone who trains hard. You just have to be disciplined about cramming enough high-quality protein into that 8-hour window.
But it's not just about how much protein you eat. We're right back to when you eat it. And as it turns out, not all 8-hour windows are created equal. The science actually makes a really clear distinction between eating early in the day versus eating late at night.
Now check this out because the difference here is huge. An early window, let's say from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., works with your body's natural circadian rhythm. Your insulin sensitivity is at its peak in the morning, which means you're way better at using nutrients and carbs. This leads to way better fat loss. But a late window, like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., that forces you to eat when your body's trying to wind down for the night, which can mess with your internal clock and basically cancel out a lot of the benefits. And this, right here, this chart shows the result we are all chasing. Study after study confirms this is the holy grail for athletes. When you combine 16-8 fasting with enough protein and, of course, resistance training, you see a major drop in fat mass, while your lean mass, your precious muscle, is preserved. You are literally telling your body to target fat for fuel. All right, we have to talk about the elephant in the room.
You've probably seen some pretty scary headlines flying around recently linking intermittent fasting to some really serious health problems. It's so important that we separate the clickbait from the actual science.
This was the number that went completely viral. It came from a presentation at an American Heart Association conference, and it claimed that people who ate in a window of less than 8 hours had a 91% higher risk of dying from heart disease. I mean, that sounds absolutely terrifying, and if it were true, that would be a massive red flag for all of us.
But hold on, before we all panic, we have to do what the headlines didn't bother to do, and that's ask the right questions. Was this even a good study? What details were conveniently left out? Because when you look past the shock value, a very different picture starts to emerge.
And this slide really breaks down the problems. First off, this was an observational study, not some gold standard clinical trial. It didn't even look at the quality of the food people ate. More importantly, it probably suffers from something called reverse causality. Just think about it for a second. Isn't it possible that people who were already sick had a poor appetite, and that's why they ate in a shorter window? The sickness caused the eating pattern, not the other way around. Plus, the data was based on people trying to remember what they ate on just 2 days, which is, notoriously unreliable. And for us athletes, the biggest miss is that muscle mass, a key predictor of a long life, wasn't even considered.
Okay, now that we've cleared all that up, let's get down to business. If you actually want to try 16/8 fasting safely and effectively, here is your step-by-step blueprint for success. Please do not just jump headfirst into a 16-hour fast on day 1. You're just asking for headaches and crazy hunger pangs. Instead, you got to ease your body into it. Start with a simple 12-hour fast in week 1. Pretty easy. Then, in week 2, push it to 14 hours. By the time you get to week 3, your body's going to be so much more adapted, and moving to the full 16 hours will feel like no big deal.
So what can you actually have during your fasting window? This is a super common question. The rule is really simple. Anything that spikes your insulin is out. So you're going to want to stick to things like water, black coffee, and unsweetened teas. Just avoid anything with calories or sugar that's going to break your fast and grind that fat-burning process to a halt.
And here's a pro tip that so many people miss. When you fast, your insulin levels drop, and that can make your kidneys flush out more sodium and water. This can lead to dehydration and feeling dizzy or tired. So make sure you're chugging plenty of water. And seriously, don't be afraid to add a tiny pinch of good quality salt to your water. It helps keep your electrolytes balanced, and it makes a world of difference. So let's bring it all home. The real takeaway is this. 16/8 fasting isn't just another diet fad for dropping a few pounds. When you do it right, it is a powerful tool for completely optimizing your metabolism, boosting your cellular health, and reprogramming your body to use fat for fuel, all while protecting that muscle you worked so hard for.
At the end of the day, this is about way more than just changing when you eat. It's about learning to work with your body's natural rhythms instead of constantly fighting against them. It's a strategy to unlock a whole new level of metabolic health and body composition. So the only question left is, are you ready to give it a shot?
Hey, if you got some real value from this science-backed breakdown, do me a favor and show some love by hitting that like button. And if you want to keep getting stronger, leaner, and healthier using actual science, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.